Good day, family. Pastor Willingham here, studying the Word this morning, and I wanted to share with you a message for our men today. And I believe it's a message, for all of us. I believe women are going to resonate with this as well, because anything that impacts men is going to impact our women. And one of the things that we can do by improving men and strengthening men, we strengthen families and strengthen our world. And I'm looking at Deuteronomy 16 and verses 16 through 17. Deuteronomy chapter 16, verses 16 and 17. And it raises a question here for men that, we have to make sure that we don't show up empty, as men. And men, many times we do need to question, or we need to ask ourselves, are we showing up empty? Many times, too often, are our men showing up empty? Our men, it's a question, out here, our men bringing to the table, what they should, the best of who they are and the best of what God has given them. And again, Deuteronomy 16, verses 16 and 17 read this way. It says, 3 times a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God in the place he shall choose, in the feast of the unleavened bread, and the feast of the weeks, and in the feast of the tabernacles, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty. Ooh, I tell you what, and being a pastor and dealing with this issue here, I tell you what, man, too many times I gotta admit, I see too many men just in the things of God and the things of the church coming up empty, not showing up, not bringing to the table anything. And again here, not only, there's 3 occasions here the Bible says that men should appear before the Lord, and then it says they shall not appear before the Lord empty. Powerful, powerful, powerful words. And then verse 17 goes on to say that every man shall give as he as able. You see, and so we're not asking every man to do what another man does. And we're not asking men to compare themselves to other men, because sometimes men, we do this. We're competitive, and we're looking at what the other man is doing, and we're measuring our manhood by other men, and different men have different levels. Different men have different capabilities. Every man shall give as he is able. Men, do what you are able to do. Do what you are able to do. Don't look at what another man is doing. Don't compare yourself to another man. Don't compare yourself to your father, or don't compare yourself to somebody else that is achieving on a certain level. Don't compare yourself to any other man. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessing the Lord thy God which has given thee. And so again, different men are blessed at different levels. And so they're going to be able to give at different levels. Different men are going to have more power, more influence, more resources than other men, but every man has something. Every man has something. And I think sometimes because the self-esteem of men can be down and the men don't always have everything the way they want it, and so then they don't do anything. And I think this is where a lot of our men are, because maybe they're not thriving the way that they want to, and maybe they're embarrassed, maybe they're ashamed, maybe their self-esteem is down, which is something we don't deal with a lot with men, talking about men's self-esteem, because men many times are projecting that they don't have something about masculinity sometimes that men don't always deal with, the fact that they feel inadequate at times. And it's not that people are expecting you to do something that you can't do as a man. I know there's pressure for men to perform, and it's not that people are expecting you to perform beyond what you're capable, but people are expecting you to perform according to what you can do. And it's not, again, that someone's looking for you to overperform, but the problem, I think, with a lot of men is that we underperform. You know, we underperform. We don't do what it is that we can do. And this is where the frustration is with many men today, is not that their capability, it's they're not doing what they're capable of doing, and it's undermining their manhood, it's undermining their relationships, it's undermining their power, simply for this reason that God again has made it clear here that men need to show up. You know, we need that responsibility to show up as men, and not only that, show up before God, show up before our family, show up before the world in which we live, not empty-handed, but knowing that God has given us something, and the something that God has given us, we have to show up with it and use it and show up with it and do what we can, and challenge ourselves to say, how are we showing up, men? How are we showing up? Are we showing up empty-handed, men, or are we doing the best that we can? Because that's all anybody really who loves you expects you to do, is just do the best you can. People, again, aren't expecting you to overperform. People many times are just hurt and frustrated when you underperform, when you don't live up to the capability of what you have, and when you don't recognize that sometimes even when you're not, you know, thriving the way you want to, God has still blessed you with something. And that something that God has given you, God and the people who love you expect you to show up with it and not show up empty-handed. And so this is a message for men, but it's a message for everybody, that we encourage men to acknowledge their blessings and just show up to the table of life with what they have. And God will grow them, God will bless them, God will bless their families. And so I'm asking again that you subscribe here if you hear something that is motivational for you. Share this message and subscribe, and I appreciate you for listening. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. God bless you. Bye-bye.